My phone. All right, we are live. So I'm going to
Hey,
pull
hey,
this up on my
everybody.
phone. Yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. And let's see here. Want to pull this up. So first of all, guys, if you are joining us live, go ahead and drop in where you're joining us from. And if you are catching the replay, drop us a hashtag replay. All right. I haven't found it yet.
We're live, and we've got people joining us. So
Yep,
as
there we
you're
go.
joining us, guys, say hello in the comments. We want to see who's joining us.
Yeah. So, first of all, I hope everyone in the US had a fantastic Thanksgiving last week. We didn't go live. We wanted to observe the holiday with everybody, and I hope you're having a great first week of December. Like, how in the world are we at the end of the year already?
I have no idea. I don't know where it went, but it's been a fun
Yeah,
year.
it has. But I know Ruth's got some exciting news to share.
Oh my gosh, I'm a grandma. So I got to tell you, Trish, it was like wild. I knew it would be special, but I saw the baby. Her name's Evie. About 3 hours after she was born, I couldn't go in the hospital because of the COVID restrictions, but I held her after about 3 hours, and it was like magical. It was so cool to see how life carries on, and just had such an amazing impact. And she's a doll. She has this little round face that you just want to squish and kiss.
I know you keep posting pictures, and I'm like, oh man, because
Yeah.
I remember, like, I still remember her, like my kids, like it was yesterday, and just those cute, smushy faces and that baby smell,
Yeah.
and I know you were messaging me back and forth, and I'm like tearing up because I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
It was so cool. Yeah.
Oh, so congratulations, and I know you get to go spend more time with her this weekend, so I know you're
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you are joining us live, go ahead, drop in where you're joining us from. And again, if it's a replay, give us a hashtag replay. And we want to give you some shout outs. But today is going to be just a little bit different format than what we typically do. But this is a topic we're going to cover today that um, Ruth and I experience when we're coaching people all the time. That sometimes this is the one thing that really holds people back. It really keeps people from being able to move forward in their business. And so we're going to dive into this and really go back and forth. But we'd love for you guys to be interactive throughout this as well, um, because that's gonna, it makes the training better when you're interactive with it.
Absolutely. So, um, I think this is a really important topic as well, Trish, coming into the wrap up of a year, right? Because
Yes.
when the year's wrapping up, we start to think about, okay, what were the goals that I set at the beginning of the year? And maybe you've achieved them, which is great, but maybe you haven't. And it's a really critical time right now, if you haven't, to go through the exercise that we're about to describe to you, because it could actually make or break your 2022.
Absolutely. So what we're going to be talking about today, guys, is we're going to be talking about the difference between evaluation and judgment. And we're going to dive into, like Ruth said, an exercise to really help keep you more in evaluation than in judgment. So, just real quickly, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you know the difference judgment, just drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear because we're going to, they're very, there's a fine line between them, but you're going to get a very different result depending on which one you focus on.
Absolutely. So to kind of kick it off, when we're looking at our results, and it could be results in your business, it could be results in something you're doing in your life, it could be results in your job, it could be results in your relationships. um, a lot of times when things don't go the way we want them to go, or we don't get to the goal that we originally set, we get into this space called judgment. And judgment really happens when we're looking at those results and we start to blame ourselves, right? So it becomes almost like an emotional response. And a lot of that can carry over from, how we were treated as children, what sets of beliefs were instilled in us as we were growing up, various events that happened in our lives that have had impact on us. And oftentimes, if we didn't achieve the result we were looking to achieve, we get into judgment. So what might that look like if you didn't reach your business goal? It could be, oh, I'm really not good at marketing. Oh, I'm really not good at network marketing. I don't belong in this profession. I'm not a good connector. I I don't know how to use my words correctly to connect with people. I'm not a good salesperson. I'm not a good closer. I'm not a good leader. That's judgment, right? And a lot of that can really come from your own internal programming, and it's your go-to when things don't turn out right. Judgment can stop you in your tracks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can convince yourself that you shouldn't move on, right? So I'm going to let Trish share how you should reframe this with evaluation.
I love it. And yeah, a couple people here said judgment is negative, and you're absolutely right. Judgment is negative, right? Because one of the things with judgment is it comes down to it being your opinion, right? And when you've got that opinion, sometimes that's where it definitely can take that negative turn. And just like Ruth was saying, you're saying all these things that are negative. I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. You're likely even comparing yourselves to others when it's not even first of all, you shouldn't even be comparing yourself. But although it's probably also not a fair comparison of what you're comparing. So judgment again really gives that negative vibe. But when we're in evaluation, it's very different, because evaluation, you're going more based off of facts, right? You're really evaluating and looking at, different factual things that are more mental, and things that you can prove. Like if you're looking at statistics, or you're looking at, okay, I mean, let's think about this. I mean, when you evaluate, you can look in the mirror even and go, wow, I'm getting old. That's not an opinion. You can notice you might have more lines on your face, right? That's still a fact. That's evaluating that you are still that. But where judgment could just be like, oh, I just taking a negative spin on it. I'm getting wrinkly, I'm getting old, I'm now this, I'm now that, right? You take it. So what we like to do with people is take them through something called a 3-2-1 evaluation, because when you can really be evaluating and looking at the facts, you are going to think about it very differently, because you take that emotional side out of things. And when you can remove that emotion, you can be, you can make better decisions, because now you're not putting yourself down. You're not, you know, just being very critical of yourself. You're actually just evaluating the facts to see what needs to change, what it is that's causing that, versus assuming that it's just you. And so before we dive into the actual 3 steps, Ruth, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think the 3 steps are really, really important. And once we get through the 3 steps, I want to give a really interesting example of evaluation that can really reframe things. So why don't you carry it away, Trish? You're doing such a great job.
Great, guys. And if this is making sense, go ahead and drop us some hearts and stuff too. But when we're evaluating, like I said, you really want to be focused more on the facts, not the opinion. Okay. Because you want to be able to change the outcome of whatever it is. So the first step that we do with people is we have them choose 3 things that are working for their business, or 3 things that are just working. And maybe it's not for your business, maybe it's in life, but whatever it is that you're trying to evaluate, pick 3 things that are working. And they don't need to be massive, right? It doesn't mean, it doesn't have to be like this massive thing. It could be, I had more followers this week than last week on my lives. I had more comments this week versus last week on my posts. It can be really small things, but you have to pick 3 solid things that are truly working, so that you can then move on to step 2. Do you want to do step 2, Ruth?
Sure, for sure. So step 2 is you're looking at what's not working. So you're going to find two things that are not working in terms of the activities you were doing. So if you're in network marketing, you might be evaluating how your social media is, and maybe, certain ways of posting are not working. Maybe regular posts aren't working for you, or maybe you're on multiple platforms and one platform isn't producing any results, right? So this isn't about judging yourself. It's about looking at what's not working. Oh, I'm posting on LinkedIn and it's not working for me. I'm not getting engagement. I'm not, connecting with my audience well. Or I'm using Instagram TV and I'm not getting a lot of views. So that's a very objective way of looking at something, right? It's not judgy, it's objective. So you're going to identify two things that aren't working.
Yeah. And what I love about this too, guys, is just like Ruth said, you're being very objective about it. So you're not putting excuses in there too. Like, oh, I'm posting on LinkedIn and nobody's commenting. That means they must not like. No, you're just not getting a lot of activity. That's it. Right. It's just being focused on that objective piece of it. No emotion, no excuse as to why, when in the end, one of the things you can evaluate is, well, how many days a week am I posting? Right. But again, it's an evaluation. It's not a, oh, I just don't have time to post, so it's not working. No, maybe, what the evaluation piece there is, I need to maybe post more, but which leads us into that last step, which is one thing that you might change to get a different outcome going forward. So in Ruth's example, maybe you're not getting a lot of activity on LinkedIn. Well, now we evaluate, okay, what are the things that are happening here? Am I posting as many times a week as I should be posting? Are the people who are commenting people who fall within my avatar? Things like that, so that when you change one thing, it's going to be easy. So it's not oh, I need to be better at this. It's okay, it looks like I need to be more consistent with how I post. Or maybe I'm going to, one thing I'm going to change is I'm going to post 5 days a week versus 3 days a week. So you're being, again, very objective with that change you're making, but you're only making one change. And that's the important thing, that you're really focused on just one change. Because if you change too many things at one time, then you're not going to know what worked. You're not going to know what actually gave you a different result. And so really being focused on, again, the 3 positive things that are working, the 2 things that are not working, and then one thing that you might be doing differently. And that is going to allow you to have a very different outcome if this is something you start doing on a regular basis.
And I think, Trish, that doing one thing differently at a time in terms of evaluation. So I like to evaluate things weekly, and I'll look at what I'm doing, what's working, what's not working, what should I do differently. And sometimes I think people think they have to change everything. Like when their business isn't working, they think they have to change everything. And that's a really overwhelming feeling. And we all know what happens when we get overwhelmed. Like if you're watching this live, drop in the comments what happens when we get overwhelmed, because we get stuck, right? We start to procrastinate. We get overwhelmed. We stop. We have fear. We just can't move forward. But you can move forward when you pick one thing and give it a shot, right? Make a little change and watch what happens.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, because the other thing that happens, when you're doing too much, is then you start having self-doubt, you start having negative talk, you're beating yourself up because you go right back into judgment, right? Instead of evaluation, you slip back into judgment. So I love this because, again, when you're making that one change and you're evaluating frequently, now you've got specific things you're comparing to. Because, when you evaluate at the end of this week, it can be, okay, how am I doing in comparison to last week? So you're actually comparing, which is good when you're comparing the right things, right? But you're actually comparing solid, like verifiable information versus your opinion on the information, right? So you've got facts. So, okay, I made this one tweak and I can look and, oh, look, I've had more views this week. I've had more comments this week. I've reached more accounts this week. Okay, cool. That one thing worked. But then you go through that evaluation again to figure out again the 3 things that are working, 2 things are not, and what's one more thing, because you're always kind of tweaking to just better things all the time. So hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. And the one thing I'll say as well about evaluation, um, and it's interesting because we have a pretty big team now, Trish, and we go through this exercise with our people about evaluating their results. And that's something we're doing now as the year is wrapping up. And sometimes when we start looking at true evaluation versus judgment, people might say, well, I didn't do enough activity, right? They may have procrastinated. They may have not gotten into action. They may have not been consistent. And I always tell people that that's okay. We're only evaluating. We're not judging. We're not judging ourselves. We're not beating ourselves up. We're evaluating that not enough action actually took place. So, what's one thing we might do differently? Well, we might do some more action. We might have a calendar for social media posting. We might use a tool to do something better. But it's not beating ourselves up that, oh, I'm bad. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. It's more about, okay, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So going forward, I'm going to start doing the activities. So it's really just about being honest with ourselves and not beating ourselves up and evaluating and then making a decision to do something differently.
Absolutely. And I love that, Ruth, because, it doesn't matter how great you are in any business, right? There's always something we can tweak to do a little bit better that's going to give a little bit better results. And I love how you said, even if you're not doing enough activity, don't beat yourself up. No, just change it. Like, that's it. You're in control. You get to change whatever you want to change. And if you know that, your lack of results is coming from a lack of activity, well, that's okay. That's an easy fix. Just do more activity. So don't ever beat yourself up. Just know what you need to change in order to move forward. Know what you need to change to get the result that you're looking for. And I think that that's important in evaluation too, is we know what that end result is. So we just have to really focus and make decisions and ask ourselves, well, is this change going to get us closer to what I'm looking for? What my goal is, what I'm working towards. And that's what we're really putting it on. So again, we're removing all emotion. And that's the really, really important piece, because I think it's hard sometimes when you're not getting the results you want to not go into judgment. But you and I both know, Ruth, that judgment will just crush your dreams. And so, yeah,
And
it'll just crush your dreams.
it's so funny, Trish. Over the years, we've tried so many things in our marketing. Like, I just think back to when you and I started working together a couple of years ago. And it's like, okay, we're going to do this webinar and we're going to run this webinar and we're going to have all these great results. And we would put it together and we would think it was so great and we'd attach it to a fancy funnel. And then nothing, we didn't get the results we were looking for. And I'm so glad that we had this tool of the 3-2-1 evaluation, because we could have very easily, and that happened a number of times, said, oh, we're just not good at this. We're not good at this. We'll never achieve. We're not marketers. And we could have stopped. But instead we evaluated and got to where we are. So it's, it happens to all of us. You have to try things. They're not always going to work out the way you want to. But if you can step back and not judge and evaluate, you'll be able to move forward.
It's so funny that you say that, because I think of when you and I really first started working together, we had one huge common goal, and that was we wanted to help network marketers succeed in business, period. We wanted to help other network marketers have success with the knowledge that we had, because we knew that people were spending money on these courses that in the end weren't getting them the results. And we wanted to fix that. But I think about the ideas that we had at that time and how our path has, gone in so many ways. And right now we're actually doing everything we wanted to do. but it doesn't look anything like we thought it would look.
No,
Right?
it looks totally different.
Yeah. But we got here through evaluation, and right now we're really happy with the results. So but it's still the path to get us here. It just nothing what like we thought it would be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So I share that with you guys too, because that's really important, because sometimes we're so set on it has to be this way, it has to be this way, but it doesn't, right? The biggest thing to focus on again is evaluating along the way. Is this going to get me closer to where I want to go? Right. And it could be a completely different route that in your mind never even crossed your mind, actually, that to be an idea for you. And but that could end up being the solution. So you've got to be open to ideas. You got to be open to really being okay with being objective with what you're evaluating and keep an opinion out of the way.
Absolutely. So, guys, we encourage you as we're in the month of December, the last month of 2021, that you do an evaluation, an honest evaluation on your business. Don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you aren't where you said you were going to be last year. Just do an evaluation and start picking off the things you might do differently, and you'll be astonished how your business will move forward.
Absolutely. And one of the things we want to do, guys, to really help you wrap up this year strong and to really get a good start for 2022 is, if you are stuck, if you really just don't even know how to get yourself through this evaluation, drop us a strategy in the comments, and we're going to drop you our link where you can hop on a call with us. Because in addition to us, being leaders and building a network marketing business, we also have coaching programs too. And, we would love to walk you guys through and just kind of have a really quick conversation with you, like a 10 or 15-minute conversation. We're really good at digging in fast, and we can help guide you to a decision that's going to be good for you, no matter what it is. But sometimes just being able to talk to someone and have someone be able to ask you the right questions is going to help you come up with the right answer for yourself.
Absolutely. So let's wrap it up, Trish, and have an amazing week, everyone. We will be back again next Thursday, as usual, with some more content for you and value. And have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week, guys. And again, drop strategy if you'd like to hop on a call with Ruth or I. And have an awesome day.
Bye.